What if the biggest thing holding you back isn't your lack of talent, money, or opportunity, but the way your mind has been trained to think without you even realizing it? Most people spend their entire lives trying to change their results, never discovering that the real battle is won or lost long before any action is taken. In the next few minutes, you'll uncover why some people stay calm under pressure, make smarter decisions, and build lasting success, while others keep repeating the same frustrating patterns again and again. The difference isn't luck, and it isn't intelligence. It's a hidden form of mental discipline that quietly shapes every choice, every habit, and every future outcome. As this journey unfolds, you'll discover powerful psychological shifts that can completely change the way you approach money, relationships, setbacks, and personal growth. But each lesson becomes more valuable than the last. And whatever you do, don't miss the final chapter, because that's where the most powerful insight is revealed. An idea so simple that most people overlook it, yet so transformative that it can change the direction of your entire life. Along the way, if something challenges the way you've always thought, let me know in the comments, because your perspective could inspire someone else to see life differently. And if you're ready to train your mind instead of letting the world train it for you, take a second to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it, because by the end of this journey, you may never look at your own mind the same way again. Chapter 1. The Mind That Refuses to Drift. Your life is moving in the direction of your strongest thoughts, whether you realize it or not. Most people never choose where their mind goes. They simply react. A notification appears, and their attention follows. Someone criticizes them, and their emotions take control. A setback happens, and doubt quietly takes over. Days become weeks, weeks become years, and without noticing, they are living a life designed by distractions instead of decisions. But every extraordinary life begins with one invisible choice: the decision to stop drifting. The world rewards speed, yet the strongest minds are built through stillness. Before great achievements become visible, they exist as quiet victories that no one else can see. A person who can control their attention in a noisy world already possesses an advantage that money cannot buy and luck cannot replace. Think about it. Why do two people face the same obstacle, yet one gives up while the other grows stronger? Why does one setback destroy someone's confidence while another person uses it as fuel? The difference isn't found in the obstacle. It's found in the mind interpreting it. Your mind is constantly telling stories. Every challenge becomes either proof that you're incapable or evidence that you're growing. Every failure becomes either a final destination or valuable feedback. Every delay becomes either frustration or preparation. The event rarely decides your future. Your interpretation does. This is why mental discipline isn't about controlling the world. It's about controlling the meaning you give to the world. That doesn't happen overnight. It begins with small moments that seem insignificant, choosing patience instead of panic, choosing focus instead of distraction, choosing curiosity instead of fear. These tiny decisions rarely earn applause, but over time they shape a completely different identity. The strongest people aren't those who never feel fear. They're the ones who refuse to let fear make their decisions. Imagine your mind as a garden. If you never decide what belongs there, weeds will grow on their own. Doubt, comparison, anger, and endless distractions don't need permission. They appear naturally, but confidence, clarity, patience, and wisdom must be planted intentionally and protected every single day. That's the hidden truth most people never discover. Your mind is always being trained. The only question is, who's doing the training? Your habits, your environment, other people's opinions, or you? The moment you become aware of that question, everything begins to change. You stop blaming circumstances and start taking ownership of your attention. You realize that every focused thought is an investment in the person you're becoming. And once you understand that your attention is your greatest asset, another question naturally appears. If controlling your mind is the foundation of every lasting success, then how do you actually train it to stay focused when the world is designed to pull it in every direction? That's where the real transformation begins. Chapter 2. Training your thoughts before they train you. The greatest battle you'll ever fight isn't against the world. It's against the habits of thought you've repeated for so long that they feel like the truth. Most people believe they think freely, but if you pay close attention, you'll notice something surprising. The same worries appear every morning. The same excuses whisper before every difficult decision. The same fears return whenever an opportunity demands courage. Those thoughts didn't arrive by accident. They were trained. Every experience leaves a mark. Every success builds confidence, but every disappointment can also create invisible limits if you allow it. Over time, the mind becomes efficient. It repeats yesterday's thinking because it believes familiar is safer than unfamiliar. That's why change feels uncomfortable. Not because you're incapable of changing, but because your mind is protecting the identity it already knows. This is where truly disciplined people separate themselves from everyone else. They don't believe every thought they have. Instead, they examine it. When fear says, "You're not ready," they ask, "Is that a fact, or is it just an old story?" When doubt whispers, "You'll probably fail," they don't surrender to the emotion. They question the assumption behind it. That single habit changes everything, because the quality of your life is shaped by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Imagine walking through a room filled with mirrors. Some reflect your true image, others are distorted. If you believed every reflection without questioning it, you'd never know what you actually looked like. Your thoughts work the same way. Some reveal reality, others simply reflect old fears, past failures, or opinions you've carried for years. Mental discipline means learning the difference. It means refusing to let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. It means understanding that just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it deserves to stay there. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming intentional. You'll still experience uncertainty. You'll still feel pressure. You'll still face moments when quitting seems easier than continuing. But instead of reacting automatically, you'll create a pause. And inside that pause lives your freedom, because every meaningful decision is made in the space between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. That space may last only a few seconds, yet it has the power to reshape years of your life. The people who build extraordinary futures aren't always the smartest or the most talented. They're often the ones who consistently choose better thoughts before better actions. Thought by thought, decision by decision, day after day. Eventually, those invisible choices become visible results, and once your thoughts begin working for you instead of against you, another challenge quietly appears. How do you stay committed when progress is slow, rewards are invisible, and no one else notices the discipline you're building? That answer is where patience stops being passive and becomes one of the greatest forms of power you'll ever possess. Chapter 3. The Silent Power of Patient Discipline. We live in a world that celebrates quick wins, instant results, and overnight success, but the truth is, the most valuable things in life grow so slowly that impatient people often walk away just before everything begins to change. That's the hidden cost of chasing immediate rewards. You trade a remarkable future for temporary comfort. Real discipline isn't tested when you're excited. Anyone can stay motivated for a few days. The real test comes when the excitement disappears, the progress becomes invisible, and every part of you starts asking, is any of this even working? Those are the moments that define your future. Imagine planting a tree. For weeks, maybe even months, it looks like almost nothing is happening. If you judged its growth only by what you could see above the ground, you might believe all your effort had been wasted. But beneath the surface, something extraordinary is taking place. The roots are spreading. They're becoming strong enough to support everything that will come later. Your life works the same way. The habits you repeat today may seem too small to matter. Reading a few pages, saving a little money, keeping your promises, choosing calm over anger, staying focused instead of giving in to distractions. None of those actions seem dramatic, yet together they quietly build the foundation for a life that others will one day call successful. What people admire is rarely the beginning of the story. They see confidence. They don't see the years spent overcoming self-doubt. They see wisdom. They don't see the countless mistakes that created it. They see financial freedom. They don't see the thousands of disciplined decisions that came before it. Success always has an invisible chapter that few people are willing to live through. That's why patience is so powerful. Patience isn't waiting because you have no choice. It's continuing because you trust the process even when the evidence hasn't arrived yet. That kind of trust changes the way you see obstacles. A delay no longer feels like failure. It becomes preparation. A setback no longer feels like the end. It becomes feedback. A difficult season no longer feels meaningless. It becomes training. This shift is subtle, but it changes everything. Because once you stop measuring progress only by immediate results, you begin measuring it by the person you're becoming. And that's a victory no setback can take away. Every disciplined decision strengthens your character. Every promise you keep to yourself builds self-respect. Every moment you resist the easy path increases your confidence. Slowly, almost without noticing, you become someone who no longer depends on motivation. You depend on commitment, and commitment has a quiet strength that never needs attention. It simply keeps moving forward. But there is one final step that separates disciplined people from truly unforgettable ones. It's not about thinking better. It's not even about waiting longer. It's about becoming the kind of person whose character is so strong that success naturally follows. Because in the end, your greatest achievement will never be what you build. It will be who you become while building it. And that's the final lesson that changes everything. Chapter 4. Becoming the Person. Your future can trust. At the end of every journey, there's one question that matters more than all the others. Can your future trust the decisions you're making today? Most people spend years chasing the perfect opportunity, the perfect investment, the perfect relationship, or the perfect moment to begin, but they overlook something far more important. Opportunity doesn't create character. Character determines what you do with opportunity when it arrives. That's why some people rise after success, while others lose everything they worked so hard to build. The difference isn't found in what they have. It's found in who they've become. Your habits are more than daily routines. They are promises. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you strengthen the belief that your actions can be trusted. Every time you break one without a reason, you quietly teach your mind that your own words don't matter. Over time, those tiny moments shape your identity. And identity is the foundation of every lasting achievement. Think about the people you admire most. It probably isn't because they never failed. It's because they remained steady when life became uncertain. They stayed calm when others panicked. They stayed focused when others became distracted. They kept learning when others believed they already knew enough. That quiet consistency became their greatest advantage. The same path is available to you, not through dramatic changes overnight, but through ordinary choices repeated with extraordinary commitment. Wake up with intention. Protect your attention. Think before reacting. Choose patience over impulse. Choose learning over ego. Choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. None of these choices will make headlines tomorrow, but together they can transform the direction of your entire life. One day people may look at your success and assume you were lucky. They won't see the mornings you stayed disciplined when no one was watching. They won't see the temptations you walked away from. They won't see the countless moments when you chose what was right instead of what was easy. But you'll know. Because the greatest reward of discipline isn't wealth. It isn't recognition. It isn't status. The greatest reward is becoming someone you can depend on, even when life becomes unpredictable. That's a kind of confidence no one can give you, and no one can take away. So as this journey comes to an end, don't ask yourself how quickly your life can change. Ask yourself a better question. Who do I need to become so that success is no longer something I chase, but something I'm prepared to handle? The answer to that question will shape every chapter that follows. If this message challenged the way you think, share your biggest takeaway in the comments. Your insight might be the encouragement someone else needs today. And if you're committed to building a stronger mind, not just a better life, subscribe and join this journey. Because real transformation doesn't happen in a single moment. It happens one disciplined decision at a time. Your future is already being written. Starting today, make sure it's written by your choices, not your circumstances.